So, hi everyone. This is Lou Martin here, and I have the Awakened Spirits Network, which is on YouTube and Facebook and Spotify. And I have the pleasure today of my new buddy and a very gifted healer and a very wise being, Michael Mulcahy. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Lou. How are you doing? Thanks for your time here today.
My pleasure, my friend. It's my delight, honestly. So, Michael was good enough to do a session with me about his work a couple days ago, and I've just been looking at all of that, and of course you explained a lot to me. So I want to open the floor to you and give you some space to introduce yourself and take us where you would like to go.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I suppose all the work that I do is all to do with frequencies within the body, and how I came into all this is through issues in my own life. I suffered from anxiety for over 30 years.
Bless you.
So it was quite social anxiety, quite severe, crippling at times. And for me, it was kind of physical because I'd start sweating when I got anxious. So because it was something physical, that made the whole thing worse for me, because if somebody saw me sweating, it'd make me more anxious and get into a vicious cycle.
My friend, I have to tell you that I can relate to a lot of this. I was the new kid in my school a dozen times, and I died 1,000 deaths of feeling self-conscious, awkward, not welcome. So yes, we have a few things in common. You are a sensitive soul, brother. That is quite a story already. Bless you.
Yeah. So like, to be always stay outside the crowd or the back of the classroom, or not say anything, keep quiet. That's how
sure.
I suppose I got through life, and avoiding people as much as possible.
Sure. Well, it's the quiet ones we have to watch out for, Michael. That's my mom. They're watching everything. Yeah. You see? Yes.
Yeah. So I suppose my healing journey then took me through everything I do in clinic now, offering the service I offer.
Yes.
Like in 2008. Things got so desperate for me, I quit my job and went off to India.
Wow.
And that was the first step into alternative healing. Before that, it was all the mainstream stuff.
Right. How long were you in India, my friend?
A year.
Wow.
I was 7 months in India, between different ashrams and traveling.
Yeah.
And did some traveling then around Cambodia, Laos, and Thailand as well.
So you learned a lot about healing and alternative things.
Yeah. So I was in Osho. Did you ever hear of Osho?
Sure.
I was in his ashram in Pune for a couple of months.
Okay.
So there's a lot of meditations and a lot of, I suppose, all the self-development work.
Right.
Is quite intense stuff from Osho. And I suppose one of the main things, one of the most popular, was something called Mystic Rose. That's where you're 3-week course. So for the first week, you're spending 3 hours a day laughing for 7 days. The second week, you're spending 3 hours a day crying for 7 days. And then the third week is 3 hours a day sitting in silence.
You have my full respect.
In that, you're like your own therapist.
That's intense.
Yeah, and I suppose the emotions, it takes a lot of effort to cry when you're kind of forcing yourself.
Sure.
When you're forcing yourself to cry for 3 hours a day, you may only really cry for 1 day, so it's a lot of energy.
Sure, buddy, and a lot of inner work, a lot of inner struggling and searching and releasing. Sure.
Yeah, I went back again in 2012 to do it because it was so deep, the work, the changes, I suppose, because a lot of things was insecurity for me.
Sure.
It was something simple. You couldn't look somebody in the eye having a conversation.
Sure.
And after the second day of crying, I've never felt pain so much in my life.
Wow.
As the heartache from the pain that came up during that session.
Wow.
And then about an hour or two later, I was just chatting with somebody.
Yeah.
and for about 10-15 minutes. And when I just walking back to my room, just realized I looked him in the eye for the whole time.
Wow.
And that was, for the first time did that, like, so.
Yes.
That's what 2 hours crying got me to do.
Yes. Well, bless you. This is face your fears and find your freedom.
Yeah.
Bless your heart.
So that took me into kind of alternative stuff. And Miraculous is kind of one of the first things I came across in the healing wise.
Right.
And then,
Go on. Go ahead. You're doing fine.
Yeah. So came back to Ireland then, and I went back to India again then in 2012 to do domestic roles again.
Right.
And it was then I came back to 2012 that I really started on the alternative healing. So I was working in IT, no interest in it. The means to existing, like.
Sure.
So then I studied kinesiology and qualified in as a kinesiologist.
Right.
And like that was the first kind of step where I got healing from anxiety. Right. Because of you're doing a lot of emotional training and emotional stuff as well. So it's kind of self-healing stuff as well.
Right. So we call this sometimes muscle testing, and this is David Hawkins. Hawkins, Power versus Force, is one of the teachers about all that. If you've heard that name.
Like there's many different flavors. Like I suppose the basic kinesiology is muscle testing, but there's many different methods that you could learn within that as well.
Okay. Great.
So I suppose then in 2015, I went back to India a third time. Wow. And that's where I came across what's called neurofeedback brain training. So that's what you had with the sensors connected to your head.
Right.
And like this was the game changer in my life for anxiety.
Okay. Say more about that. Why that was so powerful for you?
Yeah. So what neurofeedback does, it's measuring the electrical activity in your brain, and it's giving information back to your brain, allowing your brain to regulate itself better. So whenever we experience a traumatic event, so it could be anything from an anxiety attack or a panic attack or a traumatic event, our body responds in a certain way to protect us. However, when we keep replaying this over and over in our minds, our brain doesn't distinguish between our thoughts and reality. It can still trigger the same response in our body.
Right.
Not to the same intensity probably as initially, but for some people it could be.
Sure. Well, this is PTSD.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the more we play out this scene in our head, the more we're hardwiring that in our brain and that reaction in our body. So we create these hardwired patterns in our brain.
Right.
What neurofeedback is doing is giving information back to your brain, breaking up these hardwired patterns, telling your brain there's a better way to respond in these situations.
Okay, so that's brilliant. If I understand what you're saying, my friend, because I did experience it and it was lovely. This is a computer program that works with the brain waves to measure how your thoughts are responding to stimulus music and such. And then it has these breaks, as you said the other day, that interrupt the thinking. And those are the reprogramming moments kind of thing?
Yes, so it's measuring the electrical activity of your brain.
Yeah.
And you can imagine if you're focusing on something, you'll have a certain brainwave pattern.
Right.
And if the focus changes, then the brain activity will change.
Right.
So if the system detects that as a significant change in brain activity,
yeah,
it will give information back to your brain through the music, the relaxing music you're listening to.
Yeah.
So as you experience, there'll be a pause or crackle in the music.
Right.
And that's like bring your brain back to the present moment.
That's right. Okay.
So this is happening multiple times during the session. The session is 33 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it's continually giving this feedback to your brain.
Okay.
And the more feedback you can give to your brain, it allows your brain to regulate itself better.
I see.
So this helps us not to get stuck in the stress response,
Yes.
or not get stuck in the anxiety, or
Sure.
when we overthinking things.
Yes.
It helps kind of clear up that.
Sure. So, Michael, does this happen at the theta level of the brain, do we think, or do we
Well,
know?
it's not distinguishing between the states.
Okay.
What it's doing is it's allowing the brain to move more smoothly between the different brain states.
Okay.
Because when we're stuck in fight and flight, we can stuck at certain frequencies in the brain. And when the brain is regulated well, it can easily move out of those frequencies.
Okay.
But when the brain is dysregulated,
yeah,
it's finding it hard to move out of that fight and flight or stress area or anxiety.
Sure.
So like, we need these responses at certain points in our life to keep us safe.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't be getting stuck there.
Yeah. Well, that's brilliant. I quite agree with you. I mean, to me, I've been channeling and counseling with people around healing and mysticism for 35 years, and have had a lot of conversations about some of these subjects, and so what I find is if people feel safe enough, strong enough, and free enough, like you described in your journey with Osho and his work there at the ashram, digging down into that, then there can be this release, and the technology and your great research about all this, has found a way to speed things up, obviously.
Yeah. So neurofeedback is described as meditation on speed.
Oh, good. Okay, there you go.
You can just quieten the mind quicker and go deeper into your meditation. So like I've been meditating for a long time.
Yeah.
And particularly after doing a neurofeedback session, when I meditate, I can be a lot more calm or more relaxed and go deeper into relaxation.
Right.
During meditation.
Go deeper, quicker, we say, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful. Great.
So like, I suppose the main things it helps people with is sleep, stress, and anxiety are the main areas. Like particularly for sleep, a lot of overthinking things can affect people's sleep and stop them getting sleep.
Sure.
So with a brain that's more regulated, it can clear up that overthinking, so you can go into sleep quicker and a deeper sleep.
Right. Brilliant. And thank you. That's wonderful. And so I'm just being reminded, what you sent me, the report of my diagnosis, basically, of our session together, physically, which we did first, and now the brain part of it, which we're talking about. There's also a link there to the music that you played, which seems, this is the music that you use to, help people get into these relaxed states more deeply.
They're two separate systems.
Okay.
So
that's fine. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. So there's the neurofeedback brain training, which I just described. That was where you're sitting in the chair with the sensors.
Okay. Right.
Like the sensors connected to the ears and the scalp.
Yes.
So that's the neurofeedback brain training.
Okay.
The second technology. So I suppose this is all advanced wellness technology.
Yes.
So the first one is using neurofeedback technology to enhance how the brain and nervous system regulates itself.
Okay, great. So can we move to the second one, the diagnostic now?
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Yeah.
How would you describe
that? So the second technology is something called NES Health, NES Health Wellness System. And what that is doing is identifying the strings in your body that are out of tune.
Right.
And then showing the priority strings that need to be tuned in your body.
Right.
So again, like our cells give off photons of light.
Yes.
So the more healthier cell, the more coherent the photon of light is. So straight lines out of the cell. The less healthy the cell, the more incoherent the photon of light. So it's not coming in straight lines. So we now have technology that can measure the photons of light and frequencies.
Wow.
So from over 30 years of research by NES, they've identified the ideal frequency range for all the different parts of the body.
Okay.
So during the session, when you come in, you just placed your hand on this device.
Yeah.
And what happened then, the device is sending over 440 different frequencies into your body.
Wow, amazing.
Okay, so it's for each part of your body.
Right.
It's a bit like sonar. It's sending out a ping and expecting something back.
Brilliant.
So it's sending all those frequencies into your body, and it's expecting to get a matching frequency back. So when it doesn't get that matching frequency back, it repeats that particular test up to 30 times.
Okay.
And then it measures how far out of range the frequency is, like for the heart, the lungs, the liver, or the muscles or the bones.
Right.
So an example I give to people, like I did give to you, imagine you have a guitar sitting in the corner room for several months, it's not being played.
Right.
And you pick it up to play it, the strings will probably be out of tune.
Sure.
So the physical guitar and the strings are perfect. It's just the frequency coming from the strings need to be tuned.
Sure.
So it's the same with the body. What we're doing is looking to see how far attuned the frequencies are for the heart, the lungs, the liver, stomach, and then identifying what are the top 5 that are the most priority that need to be tuned right now.
Right. Right. Very good. And yeah, carry on. You're doing fine.
Yeah. So it goes into quite, as you've seen, it goes into a lot of detail.
Yeah.
And for some people, it can be quite accurate.
I think it's quite accurate. Yeah. Yes.
And it also goes into the emotions held in the body as well.
Right. Right.
Because, like, say, from again physical, mental, emotional traumas in our life, the functioning of our cells can get affected. And so that means the cells may not be given enough energy.
Yeah.
Or there's information pathways in our body, like people will recognize and call it meridian system, as part of the meridian system.
Right.
So it can show where there's energy blockages in different pathways and what part of the body that energy blockage is connected to.
Okay. Yeah.
And then it can show what emotions, trapped emotions in your body can be affecting different physical parts of your body as well.
Right, right. Like liver and anger and kidneys and fear and the adrenal and all that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like it was the most, first was the easiest, and secondly, the deepest, and thirdly, the most revelatory analysis of my health that I think I've ever seen in my life. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah. And the other good thing about the system is it can be done from your home as well. You don't have to come into the clinic. So it can use voice character recognition now. So before you had to buy like a mouse device. It's about €60, and then you just download some software to your computer.
Right.
And you can do a scan much the same as we did for you last week.
Yeah.
But now the technology exists that just by speaking for 10 seconds, it can measure all the frequencies from all the cells in your body just from your voice.
That's unbelievable. I've never heard that. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you can be anywhere in the world and have your scan done. And then we just set up a Zoom session and go through the scan then as well, explaining what's coming up.
So you just said, my friend, if I understood, that I could give you a 10-second, or we could do a 10-second reading with my voice, and you would know everything that was happening with my health from that 10-second.
Yeah, at the energetic level.
That's incredible. That's amazing. Well, close the hospitals, my friends. We're done. It's all over. Jesus.
Yeah, so the guy who created the system was bedridden for so many years. And that's where he got the idea for the system from.
Right.
And being able to do something from home.
Sure.
It could be anywhere in the world.
Well, that's incredible. That's incredible. And then to help to heal that, you have these, what do we call them, Michael? Infoceuticals?
Infoceuticals, yeah.
Yes.
So they're infoceuticals. So they're just bottles of drops.
Right.
And people take up to 15 drops then per day.
Okay.
So what's in the bottle then is something called structured water.
Right.
So our cells contain structured water.
Right.
And structured water is what helps to hold information in our cells.
Right.
And one of the most important things for life is daylight.
Right.
So the more water we have in our body, the more daylight we get, the more structured water we have in our cells, the more healthier our cells can be.
Right. I hadn't heard it put that way before.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So in the bottles then is structured water.
Okay.
And infused in the water is the particular frequency for the particular part of the body is targeting. So like this bottle here is for the heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
So infusing the structured water is the frequency for the heart.
Right. Right.
And then people take 15 drops from the bottle per day. And that's like tuning the heart back to its ideal frequency range. So you're tuning that string in the guitar.
Right. Is this sort of kind of like homeopathy related to that a little bit?
Yeah, so it's kind of the opposite. Like, so you're taking a homeopathic remedy to create a healing response.
Right.
Whereas with these drops, you're giving the corrective frequency to the body.
I see. And so the body is adjusting to the proper frequency.
Yeah, so it's raising its vibration back to its ideal frequency level over time.
Right. Amazing. Wow. So how long you've just started working with this in the last year or so?
No, with the neurofeedback since 2015, and with the NES system since 2018.
I see. Okay. Well, you're the best kept secret in town, my friend. I mean, I believe me, I haven't stopped talking about this since we connected on Tuesday a couple days ago, because it is just such a great resource, and you know your stuff inside and out, and you're lovely to be with, and it's all very reasonable. It's well priced, and you know, I think you're offering a cold drink of water on a hot summer's day, you know, to anyone who has the sense to be thirsty. So yeah.
And like I suppose like everything is frequency, vibration.
Right.
And you know, with the brain, you work with frequencies in the brain nervous system.
Right.
And with the body scanning technology, you work with the frequencies coming from all the cells in the body.
Yeah.
So it's helping to regulate things at that level. And by regulating that, then it helps everything in the physical level.
Great, great. Well, I'm just nothing but grateful to you, brother. You're doing great work, and I'm thrilled to know you and hear your success story, you know, of your own healing journey, which has taken a tremendous amount of courage and faith and blood, sweat, and tears, as you said. And here you are, you know, showing people, shining your light and offering people a way out of the darkness. It's a blessing.
Yeah. And one thing I forgot to mention then is this device.
Yes.
This is a PEMF device, pulse electromagnetic frequency.
Okay.
So do you remember you were placing it in your chest?
Right.
So this is connected with the scanning technology, the body energy scanning technology. So like the earth gives off healing frequencies like the Schumann resonance.
Yes.
So basically on this device then, it's got the frequency of every part of the body.
Wow.
And you can just place it over the body and it's sending that particular frequency into the body as well.
Dude, this is straight out of Star Trek. You know?
So like it's like in Star Trek when you go into sick bay, you just hold a little device over a person's body and then this is healed. So this is it.
There it is. 60 years later, we're there. Well, that's brilliant. That's lovely.
Yeah. So like it's got different settings for emotional work as well, for physical pain and stuff like that in the body, and then just for clearing energy blockages in the body as well.
Sure. So let me ask you this, because I'm sure you have a few. Tell us some stories of how far you've seen people be able to come through your working with them from whatever they were struggling with to sanity and good health on the other side.
Yeah, but I suppose myself first, because like it's taken me 30 years of anxiety to figure out what worked for me. Like, and people find what works for them.
Sure.
So a lot of people that come to me would be people with stress, anxiety, sleep issues, low energy fatigue. So like with the body energy scanning system, a couple of people with fibromyalgia, low energy levels, have had a massive healing response and just can do so much more things. With the neurofeedback brain training, there's been so many people who have been stuck in life, who've not been able to do things. So like kids who've gone from standing behind the parent and not want to talk to anybody to winning races in a sports day.
Wow.
Like one particular girl who wouldn't speak in class, and she would only whisper to one or two friends. She couldn't answer questions. Now she's reading books in class and things like that and answering questions.
Wow.
Or people who like with compulsive or obsessive disorders and things like that.
Yes.
Being completely overwhelmed by things, where now they can actually absorb things and not get so overwhelmed.
Sure. Let me ask you this. Have you worked with autism at all or Asperger's?
Yeah. I work with kids in the spectrum for a good few years.
And how has that been?
When particularly working with the neurofeedback brain training for kids on the spectrum, it takes a lot more sessions.
Okay.
So like kids who say have anxiety or panic attacks, something like that. So the less duration it's going on for, the quicker they can see the changes.
Okay.
We're working with kids on the spectrum, their behavior to regulate themselves, self-regulation is improved.
Right.
Their understanding of things is improved.
Right.
They're a lot more calmer.
Great.
When they do have a tantrum meltdown, they can come out much quicker and it doesn't last as long.
Right.
Seeing improvements in speech and language.
Great.
So
amazing.
It can be a wide variety of changes for kids.
Sure. Beautiful. Well, again, wow, and thank you. I'm absolutely blown away by how simple this all is, how simple you've made it, and how accessible this technology is, and how we know there's just a huge cry and need in the world for healing physically, emotionally, and mentally, like never before. So I'm sure they're going to be beating a path to your door, my friend. No doubt about it. Michael, bless you. How do people find you and your great work online?
Yeah, so it is mindbodied.com. That's mindbodied.com.
Okay.
So all the information up there about the neurofeedback and the body energy scanning technology. Great. Or if they want to give a call, numbers 089-237-6673.
Brilliant. Well, I'm just thrilled to know you. From my heart to yours, honest to God, I'm so delighted to know you, and I'm grateful that you live in Cork with our lovely my old friend Bridget Liston, who's one of my favorites. The two of you have two great kids together, and that warms my heart. And we met. You're very welcome. We met when our friend Allison passed over, and I know the two of you were working together. So I'm just really grateful you've soldiered on. Past all that, and if there's anything else I can do to help you or support you, don't be shy about asking me. I'm delighted to share what you're doing and tell people about your great work. So it's a joy to get to know you. Thank you.
Thank you. Likewise, it's been a pleasure to get to chat today and to meet last week as well.
Brilliant. Well, Louis, we hope this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Brilliant. All right. So, Michael, we'll leave it there for right now. That was absolutely wonderful and brilliantly done and perfect. And thank you so much. And we'll talk to you soon, my friend. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for that.
You're
Take
welcome.
care.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Some blessings. Cheers.